Well, the reason for writing it was because I had two characters that just came to me one day. And the first was the character of John Carew, who is the cook, which I had this idea for him after I'd been to a rather strange dinner party with the guy who ran the local deli in Monmouth, which is where I was living at the time. And in the sort of mysterious way that these things happened, the character of John Carew just kind of appeared in my head after this dinner. And then a few days later, I had another visitation from another character, completely out of the blue. And this was the person who became Jamal al-Andalus, who was an Arab astronomer. So I had these two completely different characters, an Arab astronomer and an English cook. And I had to find a way to try to make them meet. And the only place that I could think of that would be conceivable where these two might have met was in late 16th century Constantinople. Obvious, isn't it? So I went to Istanbul to just have a look around and just see what kind of inspiration I could get from it. And when I was looking in a library there, actually, the library of the University of the Bosphorus, I found this amazing document, which was a real-life diary of a man called Thomas Dallam, who was an organ maker. And this man had been sent by Elizabeth I to the court of the Sultan to present this fantastic gift, which was a mechanical organ. It was like this brilliant automaton, and it was an organ that played by itself, and then it had a clock that told the hours with the sun and the moon, and it had angels blowing trumpets, and it had this bird of blackbirds that sang at a given moment. So it was this incredible toy that he gave the Sultan. And he kept a diary, this man, this very sort of humble organ maker, kept a diary of his voyage there and what happened. And he went to the palace every day to install the organ in the Sultan's palace. And one day, one of his interpreters beckoned him over and showed him where there was a hole in the wall between where he was setting up the organ and the Sultan's harem. This is true. And so Thomas Dallam went and he put his eye to this tiny little hole in the wall, this hidden grill, and he saw these women playing ball. He saw the Sultan's women in the harem, and it's the only known true life first-hand account of a foreigner ever seeing inside this incredible secret place. And so this became a rather, sort of famous account of Thomas Dallam and the harem. And so I just thought this was the most wonderful story that I'd ever heard. And I got to thinking, what would happen if there had been somebody with Thomas Dallam at the time, and that became actually my entirely fictional character of John Carew. Supposing my character, John Carew, had been with Thomas Dallam at the time, and he had also looked through this little hole in the wall, and he had seen someone that he knew inside. Then what would they do? Would they try to get her out? Would they keep it secret? What would follow on from this conjunction of events? And so that was the springboard, and I wrote the story. The story was created out of that incident, if you like. It's quite a lot harder. But more sort of exhilarating in some ways as well. And the thing about writing non-fiction is that you've always got a handrail. There's always something that you can write down. There's always a date or a fact, or you can go and check something if you happen not to be feeling especially in the writing mood. But with fiction, there's absolutely nothing between you and the blank page. So it can be quite scary, especially at the beginning. Everything has to come out of your head and out of your imagination. And I suppose, I was helped by the fact that it's set in a place that I know quite well. It's set mostly set in the palace in Istanbul, the Sultan's palace, which I'd been to many, many times and I knew very well. And also there's a set of historical facts that I had to work with, which was some sort of framework. But when you finished it, and you end up with something that you really have created absolutely from nothing, it's rather wonderful, and I did enjoy it very much.